Hey, this is Jay Soloff at Investors Alley with the Options Trade of the Week. So I am looking at Market Chameleon and taking a look at the SPDR S&P 500 ETF, otherwise known as the SPY. It's the most heavily traded ETF. It tracks the S&P 500. And as you can see, we've had quite the move down this week after being at all-time highs just a couple weeks ago. So what's going on? Well, we had the FOMC meeting this week. The market didn't get exactly what they wanted to hear from the Fed. And then we had the possibility of new tariffs on China. All that combined means the market sold off. And it's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. We are now at the 50-day moving average. So this is kind of a point where we're likely to either head back higher or maybe break through lower. The market did rebound a little bit. It was all the way down to about under 291 before rebounding back up to 292.62, but it opened close to 294. So anyways, a lot going on. Will be really interesting to see what happens in the coming week. A good way to look at what sentiment is maybe to check out some of the big option trades that happen. So looking at the options trade here, again, we're in Market Chameleon, and lots of good info here. We can go to key trades and take a look at some of the bigger trades that happened. Usually that gives you an idea of what the institutions might be doing if you see a really big trade. A lot of smaller trades, some bigger ones. There's some pretty sizable ones here. Anything 1,000 and greater is generally a very, done by an institution or a fund. You can see some more big trades. And all right, so here's some really interesting stuff going on. Now we're talking about, these are probably the same trade, just divided up into two lots. Let's take a quick look. 277, 274, yeah, 270, yeah, okay, so these are the same thing. So 15,000 lots traded. That's a ton of options. This is some major fund or institution doing a trade like this. So what is it? Well, expires August 16th, so it's just a 2-week trade. So we're looking at a put spread, and if we look at the details, it looks like it was purchased. So we're probably talking about here is a big hedge. Someone has a big stock portfolio and they want to hedge over the coming weeks. This last few days probably spooked them, or maybe they just need that protection against a major sell-off. So this is probably a hedge, a put spread hedge that expires in 2 weeks. In a situation like this, not a lot of money is probably going to be spent because it's not likely, because we're looking at a put spread that starts making money after, down below 277, and we're at 292, or it was done when the stock was at 292. So if that's the case, then this person is just probably protecting really against a black swan, a tail risk event. 2 weeks, I mean, we'd have to go down pretty sharply in 2 weeks to get down here. So this is probably just an extra form of protection. And even though it's only 22 cents, I mean, then we're talking about $264,000 plus another $3,000, so probably something like $325,000 spent on this. Now, the good news about that is it's only 22 cents, and it's the 277, 274 put spread. So that means below 274, max gain is $3 minus what is paid for it. So $2.78. So you spend 22 cents, but you can make $2.78. So that's a huge return if it does in fact collapse. If not, they're not spending a whole lot of money for 15,000 options. Again, 15,000 combined. So this is, again, probably a cheap hedge done as a put spread. Very interesting. Could suggest that people are concerned about the downside, or it could just be something to satisfy a risk manager. We'll know more next week, but certainly not a bad sort of cheap trade to put on if you are worried about your downside risk. If you have a lot of long stock, you don't want to sell it out, you just want to protect yourself. This is a good, safe trade to make without spending a lot of money. Now, if you're interested in this sort of thing, these sort of strategies, put spreads, vertical spreads, I talk a lot about this in my video course, Options Trading Mastery. There's a link you can click on the screen for it. It's 11 videos, about 6 hours worth of courses. So if you want to learn more about it, it's a good place to do that. And it's always a good idea to educate yourself on what's going on in the options world.